Today guys, we're diving into tips specifically for those of you who are starting out in competitive Fortnite. Whether you've just started grinding ranked or you're aiming to improve in scrims, these tips will help you build a strong foundation and get you closer to dominating the competition. Without wasting any more time, let's get right into this video. So guys, the first thing is going to be for you to master basic mechanics. The first thing any competitive player needs to do is master the core mechanics of Fortnite, which are going to be aiming, building, and editing. You cannot skip these if you're serious about improving, and here's how you're going to get started. Now, your aim is going to be the first mechanic, and it's pretty much going to be everything. Without solid aim, you will not be able to capitalize on good positioning or smart plays. Start by using maps like Skaavoks Aim Trainer or even the headshot only box fights map. The code for those will be in the description, by the way. These maps are perfect for building muscle memory and developing the ability to consistently hit your shots. My tip will be to focus on precision over speed at first, because hitting every single shot matters more than how fast you can hit those shots. In my opinion, what's the most important thing when it comes to aiming is you guys consistently practicing it every single day. Think of it kind of like a muscle memory or sort of a skill that you guys are going to need to develop, and then you're going to constantly be developing over your gaming career. Now the next tip is going to be for building. This is where Fortnite really separates itself from other competitive games. Make sure you guys are practicing your building techniques every day. Free building in creative mode is a good place to start, but you also need to focus on edits that come up often in real matches. Double edits, triple edits, learning to control your opponent's builds. That's going to lead into the aspect of piece control, which is a big one. This is important because you guys need to learn how to claim the walls, ramps, and cones before your opponent in order for you to control the fight. If you guys learn all of these tips and master stuff like high ground retakes, piece control, building, editing, that's what's really going to make you guys really good mechanically. And of course, editing, like I said, is going to be the final aspect of mechanics. Editing kind of ties everything together. If you want to outplay your opponents, you need a quick and confident editing playstyle. Using the Raiders piece control practice maps to train your editing speed and precision is a really good idea. But remember, editing isn't just about being fast, it's about making the right edits at the right times. Practice how you guys edit out of boxes, how you reset builds for defense, and how you guys use your edits to take advantage of your piece control. This is going to really give you guys a sound mechanical skill set, and I think is why you should practice all three of these as much as possible. A quick tip that I have for you guys is that one common beginner mistake is overbuilding or over editing. Just because you can do flashy triple edits doesn't mean that you should always do those edits. Focus on using your mechanics efficiently in actual fights rather than unnecessarily in order to get sort of a clip or sort of a flashy play. Now guys, the second aspect I think all beginner players should learn to master is developing their game sense and strategy. Once you guys have got those mechanics down, you need to develop this because game sense is basically your decision making, when to rotate, when to take fights, and how to manage your materials, health, and positioning. The first aspect is going to be rotations, because in competitive Fortnite, poor rotations are a common reason that players get eliminated early. Rotating too late or through congested areas of zone puts you at risk. One key strategy is rotating early, especially if you're far from the next safe zone. Watch and study how the pro players use their natural cover and their builds to rotate safe. When rotating, always consider high ground because it gives you the best view of enemies and allows for better control of fights. This segues into the next section of positioning in the zone. Always be aware of your zone positioning, which is going to be stuff like dead side, which is the side of zone with fewer players, or congested side, which is the side of zone with more players. I'd recommend you always try to rotate through the dead side because it's going to be the safest way to rotate. You do not want to find yourself caught on the congested side, you're easily going to get eliminated. In the late game, try to prioritize high ground or positioning on the edge of zone to avoid being pinched by other teams. This is how you guys are going to survive for a lot of time, especially during those stacked endgames. The next aspect is going to definitely be fighting as well. Strategic fighting is really hard to master, so bear with me here. Not every fight is worth taking, especially in competitive. You need to pick your battles wisely. If you're low on materials or health, or if the storm's closing in, disengage and try to reposition. If you're in a good spot with resources and health though, be aggressive and look for picks that can set you up for late game success. Fighting, in my opinion, is the hardest one to master, especially timing of fighting and making those decisions of when to fight. That's the hardest part to master because you have to fight, but it's just based upon when you guys are going to do that if you guys want to learn to succeed. And then the final aspect is going to be material and resource management. Your materials are your lifeline in competitive play. Always farm in the early game so that you're prepared for mid and late game builds, and I suggest to try to cap off at 555 by farming each material type by the mid game. This means land at a POI with metal, brick, and wood so that you guys will be maxed out as quick as possible. Be mindful of your resources when building or defending, and if you run out in a late game situation, you're an easy target, so learn exactly how to manage your materials really well. Now guys, part 3 of what I'd recommend for you guys to master as a beginner player is definitely going to be team roles and communication in the team game modes. If you're playing in duos, trios, or squads, understanding these roles is crucial. Every successful team has players with specific roles that complement one another. The first one's going to be the in-game leader, also known as the IGL. As an IGL, you're responsible for making key decisions such as when to rotate, where to position, and when to take fights. The IGL is going to need to have great game sense and should always be thinking one step ahead. The next role is going to be Fragger. The Fragger's job is very simple: secure eliminations and get refreshes. They need to have strong mechanics and take advantage of openings created by the IGL or the support player if you're playing trios. If you're playing as the Fragger, focus on fast, clean eliminations while staying aware of your positioning in those fights. And then of course the third role, which primarily applies to trios, this is going to be support. The support player handles resources and assists in fights by ensuring the team has enough materials and heals, and they often help the IGL with calls and keep track of team health and materials during these rotations. As a bonus tip for this communication section, communication is everything in team game modes. Even if you're not the IGL, make sure you're giving useful information, call out enemy positions, mats, and health status so that your team can better make decisions. And then the next tip is going to be to practice in those competitive modes. The only way to improve is by putting in time consistently. Here's a breakdown of how you should approach your practice. So the first is going to be ranked play. Start with ranked mode if you're new to competitive Fortnite. This will introduce you to the competitive loot pool and the playstyles. It's also a good place to practice your mechanics and decision making under pressure. Scrims are going to be another really useful way to practice. Once you're comfortable in ranked, move to these scrims because they're crucial because they help stimulate the intense stacked lobbies of real tournaments. You'll practice how to handle storm surge, contested zones, and how to rotate under heavy fire. And speaking of storm surge, it's something new that competitive players often struggle with. If you haven't dealt enough damage early in the match, you'll take storm surge damage in stacked lobbies. The best way to avoid this is by securing early game tags on opponents without putting yourself in danger. I actually just made a video on this storm surge, so be sure to check it out. But basically what I'm trying to say is that those aspects are why you should practice. That is the most important tip I can possibly go over in this video. And then guys, a small tip to close it off is going to be to stay sharp with realistics in zone wars. To keep your mechanics sharp and to make sure you guys are thinking on your feet and constantly getting good practice, play Zone Wars and Realistics regularly. These modes simulate real game situations and force you to think on your feet. Zone Wars is going to help you practice quick rotations and fast fights, while Realistics gives you more of an authentic in-game feeling. These are both great for working on your fighting skills and your game sense, because they replicate competitive scenarios with less downtime really well. Be sure to play this at the end of the day because guys, obviously it's going to help you a lot with your overall mechanical skill, and also it's just fun. You can have a lot of fun with your friends on these game modes. But guys, that wraps up my guide on exactly what new competitive Fortnite players should do. They should focus on mastering their mechanics, building strong game sense, and practicing in ranked and scrims. Be sure to keep grinding, guys. I know all of you guys, if you follow these tips, will eventually succeed. Guys, please be sure to let me know if you really enjoy this type of content, because if you don't, I want to try making content that you guys are really into. Over the past couple years on my channel, I have released a bunch of different types of videos. Please let me know the types of videos you guys like me to release, because I really want to do that for you. So please leave a comment, let me know. Just tell me what your guys' thoughts are on this video and maybe other videos that you guys would want me to release. I am really looking forward to hearing your guys' feedback. But that's about it for this video, guys. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye, guys.